Alright, let's talk about a situation that's got hockey fans scratching their heads. Why would the Vancouver Canucks still be eyeing Alexander Nikishin, especially after they just added the ultra-talented Zeev Byam to their blue line? It's the kind of question that makes you pause and rethink everything you thought you knew about team building in the NHL. Here's the thing, Nikishin isn't just another prospect. He's a rare blend of size, skill, and playoff pedigree, and the way he's been handled by the Hurricanes raises some fascinating questions about contract negotiations, team priorities, and the psychology of players who've waited years to make it to the NHL. Let's dive into why this trade chatter feels like a ticking time bomb for both teams involved. First off, Nikishin's situation with the Hurricanes is a masterclass in how not to handle a young, high-end defenseman. He was drafted 5th overall in 2019, but it took 5 years for him to finally sign with Carolina. Why? Well, he was stuck in Russia, and the NHL's rules about Russian players made it a logistical nightmare. Now, he's a Stanley Cup champion with 33 points in 81 games as a rookie, numbers that would make most first-year players blush. But here's where it gets wild. Nikishin and his camp are asking for an 8-year, $8 million per year deal. That's not just a lot of money, it's a statement. And the Hurricanes? They're basically saying, we're not sure we want to commit to that. Now, why would a team that just won the Cup be hesitant to lock up their star defenseman? It's not about talent, it's about money. The Hurricanes have $10 million in cap space, but signing Nikishin would instantly make him their highest-paid defenseman, surpassing stars like Jakub Slavin. That's a problem when you're trying to balance a roster that's already stacked with elite players. But here's the kicker. Nikishin might not even be playing on the top pair for Carolina. He's been mostly a bottom pairing guy, which makes the contract even harder to justify. It's like buying a luxury car and then only using it for grocery runs. That's not a good investment, right? So, the Hurricanes are in a no-win scenario. They either pay him what he wants and disrupt their cap structure, or they trade him and hope someone else takes the hit. Now, let's switch gears to the Canucks. This is where things get really interesting. The Canucks have Byam, who's younger, faster, and has a higher offensive ceiling. But Nikishin brings something different: size, physicality, and the ability to play both sides of the ice. Imagine a blue line with Byam and Nikishin, two left-shot defenders who can switch sides if needed. That's a nightmare for opponents. Plus, Nikishin's contract could actually be a blessing for Vancouver. They're not worried about spending now, their focus is on building a competitive team in the next few years. An $8 million deal in 2026 would be a steal by 2030 due to inflation. But here's the catch, the Canucks can't just hand over cash. They'd have to offer up assets, and that's where the real drama starts. What would the Canucks give up for Nikishin? They're not going to throw away their future stars like Byam or Elias Pettersson. But what about Victor Mancini? He's a solid player, but does he match Nikishin's upside? Or maybe they'd consider trading Tom Willander, who had a great rookie season. That swap makes sense. Willander is younger, and Nikishin is a proven playoff performer. But the Hurricanes might not be satisfied with that. They want a true impact player, and the Canucks aren't going to give up their best prospects for a guy who's already been to the Stanley Cup. It's a tough spot. The Canucks need Nikishin, but they can't afford to overpay. And the Hurricanes? They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, knowing they might lose their best defender unless they can get a fair trade. In the end, this whole situation is a microcosm of what's happening in the NHL today. Teams are scrambling to build for the future, but they're also trying to balance their present rosters. Nikishin's case shows how tricky it is to value young players who are already proven but still have room to grow. The Canucks might not get him, but the fact that they're even considering it says a lot about their long-term vision. And for the Hurricanes? They've got a decision to make: hold on to a player they might not want to pay, or trade him for assets that could help them stay competitive. Either way, this trade rumor is one to watch, and it's got the potential to reshape the landscape of the NHL in the years to come.